I would like to call to order this March 2nd, 2021 meeting of the Board of Trustees of the Greater Dayton Regional Transit Authority. I should say this meeting is being conducted in accordance with sub HB 197 and the guidelines set forth by the Ohio Department of Health. Due to matters related to COVID-19, this meeting is being conducted remotely by teleconference. I would ask all participants who are participating remotely to please mute your microphones unless and until you are called upon to speak. Each time, please remember to unmute. I would now ask all persons to rise and recite with me the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Will the secretary please call the roll?
Yes, sir. Mr. Williamson?
Present.
Mr. Lumpkin?
Here.
Mr. Corrado?
Here.
And Mr. Fullenkamp?
Present.
Ms. Hairston?
Present.
Ms. Hurd?
Present.
Ms. Howard?
Present.
Ms. Matthew Stinson? And Mr. Weckesser?
Here.
Thank you. We have 8 of 9 in attendance.
Thank you. And the chair would take this opportunity to welcome Mr. Fullenkamp to his first regularly scheduled board meeting. So welcome aboard, Al.
Thank you very much.
The bylaws of the Greater Dayton Regional Transit Authority require approval by the Board of Trustees of each board meeting, the agenda of each board meeting. Prior to today's meeting, a copy of today's meeting agenda was presented to all board members for their review. Are there any requested changes or corrections to the agenda? I hear none from the other board members. I have one. That line that talks about employee recognition, that should read plural, employee recognitions with an S. Other than that revision, are there any others? Hearing none, the chair will declare the agenda accepted as presented. Also, prior to today's meeting, the minutes of the February 2nd, 2021 board meeting were presented for review to all board members. Do any board members request a reading of the minutes or suggest any corrections or additions to the minutes as presented? Hearing none, the chair will declare the minutes of the February 2nd, 2021 board meeting approved as presented. Next item on the agenda is an employee recognition. Mr. Donaghy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'll try to go sideways here. I don't want to have my back to the folks that are here in the room. Today is a great day for us at RTA. We get to recognize one of our employees for a heroic act here in the city of Dayton. And Rhonda, it's a great day. You have a couple former mayors here on Zoom with us today. It's like being at the Oscars. Look at all these famous people that are up there on that screen. And Larry Clark, I love the beard. I love it, Larry.
Thank you.
Right. So good to see you. So Rhonda Green is here today, and I'm going to tell you just one story about Rhonda. There are many more, but very important. On December the 28th, not that long ago, Rhonda was doing her thing, her regular day morning trip on a bus, and she saw something that looked strange, turned out to be a building on fire. And there were no fire department folks around, no police, no anybody, just a fire and the quietness of the early morning. So Rhonda did what a lot of people might do. She pulled over that bus, got out and started pounding on doors. And long story short, she saved a woman's life who was asleep inside the building during the event. So for that, we want to recognize Rhonda today with our Be the One Award. It's the award we use at RTA to recognize someone who exemplifies the core values of the organization. Now I'd like Roland Caldwell, our Director of Transportation, and Chris Cole, our Chief Operating Officer, to come up and help present this award. And Rhonda. Rhonda's great all the time, not just when she's saving lives. She does a great job for us here at RTA, and it's my great pleasure to give you this award. Thank you. Thank you. If you would turn around so we can get a picture with two fine looking gentlemen and me.
There we go. Perfect. All right, ready? Wow. Yes, it's behind the glass, we can tell. All right, looks good.
Thank you, Wanda.
Thank you, Mark, and thank you, Rhonda. Well deserved. Our next employee recognition, we're going to, again, put this a little bit out of order. This happens to be the last regularly scheduled board meeting for Mark Donaghy. And we have invited some of his friends and colleagues and admirers from hither and yon to come and say a few words in his honor on this occasion. And I know that some of the folks out there have some time constraints. So is Mayor Whaley on the line at this point? And if she gets on, then we'll come back to her. So let me go to Montgomery County Commissioner Carolyn Rice.
Hello, everyone. It is certainly a pleasure to honor Mark today. We actually did a proclamation in the county commission meeting last month, so I won't repeat the whole proclamation. But the point is that Mark has been a pioneer from his earliest days. I learned that you were one of the first bus drivers in 1976 in the newly desegregated Omaha public school system. And you went on to achieve many other, working your way up. And eventually we were blessed to have you land here in Dayton and Montgomery County. And you have done so much. You have transitioned the whole system. And I don't want to take too much because I know everyone else is going to chime in, but you have really been a trailblazer. And we have been so blessed and so fortunate. And we are going to miss you terribly. I also want to put in that you went above and beyond the normal. Back in 2015, I was in charge of logistics for the Dayton Peace Accords 20th commemoration. And sure enough, I turned to you and Frank Eckler, you were involved, and we made that happen. And that's just one tiny example of going above and beyond for the community over all these years. So thank you on behalf of my fellow commissioners, Judy Dodge and Debbie Lieberman, and the whole entire county. You have been a blessing, and you have really been a rock to help us provide transportation in not only essential ways, but creative ways. The flyer, biking, on and on and on. I know other people are going to add on to. So thank you on behalf of us all. We wish you an awesome retirement. You've earned it. Be healthy, enjoy every day to the max, and we will miss you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Much appreciated. Obviously, a lot of partners are on the screen today, and the county certainly has been a big one from my very first year here. And I see some of the original board members here. And we had to wade through the process to make this hub happen that's just beyond the windows here. It took the city, the county, and all of us working together to make that happen. So I can't say enough. If I'm successful, it's because we have good partners here.
Thank you, Commissioner Rice. And perhaps I neglected to go over a few ground rules. And that is, we got a lot of people who want to make some comments. We're going to try to keep those comments to 2 minutes so that we can get out of here before Wednesday. And I'm going to ask our man of the hour if he would wait to give his comments at the end of everybody else's comments for the same reason. So let me turn next to an old golfing buddy of mine, former Dayton Mayor Clay Dixon, rocking that beard. It looks great. Clay?
Thank you, Mark. I stand shoulder to shoulder with you. I have a lot of admiration for you. Any man that starts as a busser and work his way up to be one of the top administrators in public transportation, says something about the character and leadership skills. So I just appreciate everything that you have done for the RTA, making it second to none in the country when it comes to public.
Got froze up. Clay, it looks like you froze up, so we're going to say thank you for your comments. And let's move on to former Dayton Mayor Ryan Mclin.
Well, thank you for this opportunity to say goodbye, Mark, for doing a wonderful job for the city of Dayton and Montgomery County. We've had a lot of good times. When I was mayor, I was an avid bus rider, and you were very supportive of all the things. And I want to commend you for what you did with trying to get bus service into Beaver Creek. That was the Fairborn area. That was a yeoman's job. And also thank you for trying to work with, when we were working with the buses to go to Dayton Mall, and also your work that you did with the hub downtown and us keeping it safe for the individuals to be able to transfer, and especially coming out and speaking to my classes at Central State about transportation. There's so many things you could say about a Mark Donaghy, because not only did he live in the city, he respected the diversity of the Regional Transit Authority, which means so much to me and to others, that he recognized that. And I always liked the way that he always promoted his secretary. Whenever you called and got that message, he would tell you this was the best assistant that you could ever have. So kudos, enjoy, stay healthy, stay safe, and thank you so much for inviting me to be a part of this momentous occasion.
Thank you, Mayor Mclin. Let's turn next to Executive Director of the Miami Valley Regional Planning Commission, Brian Martin.
President Williamson, thanks for the invite, as well as Kathy. I guess we're here for my friend Mark Donaghy to see him off. And what can I say, Mark, on behalf of the MVRPC Board of Directors? You've served for 15 years, and you really brought a regional perspective to transit throughout the Miami Valley. As you know, and as our board members know, RTA serves as our hub, and our outlying transits certainly do connect in with RTA, as well as we rely on RTA to help attract the funds. Mark's been one of our four at the table that are eager and work the State House and the federal funding apparatuses. It's he and Chris Kirshner and Paul Gruner and myself. We always compared notes from our various associations on what's going on with funding, what we're pursuing, and so forth. For me personally, Mark was on my selection panel 8 years ago. I can't believe, Mark, that it's been that long. And as he has done with numerous RTA employees, I guess you asked the recruiter to ask me to conduct a SWOT analysis of MVRPC. Well, that certainly allowed me to hit the ground running. And I've been running ever since. And thanks to that good start, I think I've done a lot here at MVRPC. So I really appreciate that. We always work to make sure that transit is included at the table. That's going on right now with the state's biennium budget discussions. And I know that Jack Marchbanks, ODOT director, a Daytonian native, certainly wishes you well and certainly expressed to you how he feels about transit in our region. So once again, thank you for all that you've done. Thank you for your friendship, your partnership. You've left big shoes for Bob to fill and the RTA board. But I know that you're leaving the agency in a much better shape than what you inherited. So I think that's a mark of leadership, and that's a mark of some wonderful partnerships. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Brian. Let's go next to former board president, and former Dayton Police Chief Jim Newby. Hey, Chief.
Okay, thank you. I will keep it brief as you asked that we do. I would like to point out that having served on multiple boards over the years, when I complete my service on the board, I always think back, did I really accomplish anything? And this board, I was really fortunate. I came on the board at that time of transition. Some of you may remember the former mayor and former police chief of Oakwood, Mike Kelly, was running the RTA. And I served on the committee as a brand new board member who selected Mark to become the new board member. And I look back on it and I would honestly say the best decision I ever made was arguing for this Irishman to come on and be the director of the RTA. For people who work for me, they would verify this, but I believe in the old adage, putting in a hard day's work for a hard day's pay. And I asked one of the other applicants at the time Mark interviewed, I said, if it comes 5 o'clock, but there's terrible things happening, what are you going to do? Particularly if you plan on maybe going out for dinner that evening or whatever. And the guy said to me, honest arguing that, he said, I believe in working 8 hours a day. And when 8 hours a day is over, I go home. Now I come from the police department. I usually worked about 60 to 70 hours a week. So that comes out to a bit more than 8 hours a day. So when I asked Mark the same question, I said, what do you do when it comes quitting time? And of course, he goes in a long dissertation about when he stops here, he stops there, he rides the bus for a while, he does this and does that. And I said, this is the kind of person that I want as a board member. And to say that he outdid what I anticipated is an understatement. So to keep it short as I can, thanks, Mark, for the great job that you did as one of the many board members over the years. You made us look good. You talked about us making you look good. I think it was the other way around, because I had many people say, well, you really did a great job on the RTA board. And I say, no, I didn't, but we got a director that does. So thanks much.
Thank you, Chief. I see that Mayor Whaley has joined us, and so I'm going to invite her to say a few words.
Well, hello, everybody, and hello, RTA board. It's good to see you all, even if it's this way. We have already declared February 14th, which is Valentine's Day, but more importantly, it's Ohio Loves Transit Day as Mark Donaghy Day. And I hope Mark had a great time on his day, enjoying both transit and just the great work that he has done for Dayton and for our community. Mark, I just want to thank you for being such a great ally to the city of Dayton, particularly when we're talking about issues around equity and making sure that, you know, bus transportation goes to the entire region, something that you were a great leader and a great voice for. And so we will definitely miss you and look forward to hopefully seeing you around the community once we're through the pandemic and able to see people in person. But just wanted to stop in this Zoom and say thank you for all you've done for Dayton during being Dayton's bus driver.
Thank you, Mayor Whaley.
Thank you.
Go on next to Sandy Goodorf, the president of Downtown Dayton Partnership. Got to unmute, Sandy.
Thank you so much for inviting me here today to help send Mark off. You know, all I can say is thank you, Mark. Mark and the RTA throughout the years has just been an incredible partner to my organization and to downtown. You know, there was never a situation when, we were around the table or I called Mark and said, we need some assistance. He was always right there, a creative problem solver, advocate, cheerleader, strategist, you name it. So Mark, thank you. Thank you for being such a great partner and a true friend of mine. And we're gonna miss you, but congratulations on your retirement. So enjoy and stay safe. Thank you.
Thanks, Sandy. Let's go to the guy whose shoes I filled on this board, and they were big shoes. Former trustee Bill Kramer. Hi, Bill.
Unmuted. Hi, all. Mark, Jim stole most of my words here. So, he and I and Clay, I think those are the only ones today. Were on the original board when we hired you. I feel part of that also. We actually hired him to come in and his other company to do some audit work for us, and everything kind of went from there. And when I was on the board with Clay, things were kind of in a mess. And I remember even the state fired us one time, and then with the city only hired a few back, and Clay and I were city, and I can't remember who the rest of them were at this point, but it was I've been on a lot of boards just like Jim and a lot of the others, and this one was the most favorite for me because we went from here up here, and with Mark. So it's always Mark, and it was just a fun thing to do. But he was credible. We listened. We worked. I could go on for days. But and Mark and I have been friends, and we have lunch periodically. So I will miss him unless he wants to have lunch before his golf game with Frank. Anyway. Thanks so much, Mark. We'll miss you in town.
Thank you, Bill. Let's turn next to a person I had the pleasure of serving on this board with, and he's rocking a really great beard right now. Larry Clark. Good to see you, Larry.
Thanks, guys, and I'm glad that you all like the beard. I was one of the original city appointees, and times were tough then. The RTA was trying to find its footing, but under Mark's leadership, Mark throughout the years, and certainly within the time that I was there, had made a name for RTA, not only in the region, but throughout the state. And you couldn't get a guy that would work harder than Mark. Mark stood tall, no matter how tough times got, and he led by example. Mark knew one of my pet peeves, well, two of them, and I think Ryan mentioned them. Two of my pet peeves was the Beaver Creek situation, and also the Dayton Mall. I just, gosh, I can feel those feelings again just thinking about it. But Mark's leadership and the team that was in place at the time made a difference, and I can look back now and appreciate all the things that Mr. Donaghy did. Hard work was no, what can I say? Hard work was something that Mark didn't push away from. They say tough times don't last, tough people do, and Mark is one of those people. You know what? I bow my head to Mark. Thank you very, very much for all you have done. Enjoy retirement. It's going to be an adjustment period, and you're going to think of work, but as time go by, it's going to be the grandkids, the vacations, the projects at home, and all of those things well deserved by a tall man like Mark Donaghy. Thank you so much.
Hey, Larry, I'm sorry that I missed you. I didn't see you there with a beard. I didn't include you. Larry was one of the early ones also. So nice to see you again.
That's okay, Bill. And you know, it's good to see you. And thanks. You.
It's all good. It's all good. Thanks, Larry. Got a couple of former colleagues up here. A fellow whose name has already been mentioned a couple times, who gave up his wonderful career in sports broadcasting and got into the transportation business, Frank Eckler.
Thanks. Great to see everybody. Mark, I want to echo what everybody said. I've even timed this, everybody. It's 90 seconds. Mark, you've had a long career. As a matter of fact, when you first started, I looked this up when you first started. The bus tire was invented when you started your career, as well as humans discovering fire. No, I'm just. But actually, just some interesting facts about when you started your career. The #1 hit was the Ohio Players' Roller Coaster, if we all can remember that one, of course.
I have the album.
Oh, you do? Great. And You Should Be Dancing by the Bee Gees. Gas was 59 cents a gallon. But interesting, if you do the CPI on that, it's $2.77 a gallon in today's dollars. So I thought that was interesting. Now, this is the one that jumped, and I hope you made a big purchase on your first paychecks back in the day when you started your career. Gold was $134 an ounce. It's now $1,720 an ounce, just to give you an idea. Apple computer was invented, as well as the inkjet printer in your first year of your career, as well as the VHS tape. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, #1 movie of that year. And in sports history, of course, the Cincinnati Reds won the World Series. And in 1976, Sharon may know this, the Super Bowl champion was the Pittsburgh Steelers. So that goes way back. But on a serious note, Mark, I'm looking forward to having you at Golf League this year. I know you're going to be on a fixed income. I just want to remind you, you do owe me some money for the Golf League and your tournament fee. And you can do that in payments, installments, and I now have Venmo. I know that's a term you may have not heard, but check out Venmo. It might work for you as well. So congratulations. Looking forward to hearing about your travels, and love seeing you on Facebook with the kids and your dog, and can't wait to see you at the Golf League as well.
Thank you, Frank. Let's, I saw his name, I don't see his face. John Thomas, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you pick me up?
You have your video on?
No, unfortunately, I'm not as computer savvy as some. So
we can hear you.
I apologize for the black screen. And I also going to apologize for those who know me and had the privilege of working with me. They know 2 minutes trying to keep me to that is very difficult. One thing, and it's been said quite a few times today, and that is one of the best things you can say about a person when they retire or leave a position is they leave it better than what it was when they got there. With Mark, it has to go further. It would have been so easy for him just to focus and develop RTA, but he understood better than anybody else that RTA wasn't an entity by itself, that it touched every place in the region. And he worked extremely hard to get that interface and to develop the partnerships that needed to make the region itself a better place than it was before Mark got here. And then one of the things that impressed me about Mark, and it deals with a leadership principle I learned quite a few years ago in my military career, that to be a good leader and be successful, one of the things that you must do is surround yourself with quality people and let them do their jobs. Support them when they needed to, guide them when you had to. Mark has that down to an art. I've never worked with somebody who was willing to let you make a mistake and then help you understand why. And it just made for a really good development. I will say one thing though, I did learn something from him. Years ago, steel wheels were the primary rims in the transit industry. And Mark came to me on one of the orders of the buses and said, you know, we need to try the aluminum wheels. Being an old maintenance person, I was against it. And Mark had his subtle ways to make sure that we got the aluminum wheels. That was okay. Then I made my mistake. About a year after we had the aluminum wheels, I sent Mark an email basically stating, well, Mark, I was wrong and you were right about going with the aluminum wheels. I was very surprised one time walking into his office and seeing that email in a frame hanging in his office. So that taught me a lesson. And when I wanted to deal with him, it wasn't going to be email. But Mark, it was a privilege working with you. I cannot begin to say how much respect I have for you. Good luck on your retirement. Just make sure Dora understands the segment for retirement. I had a hard time with Cindy, and to understand that Monday through Friday are retirement days. That's when she could put you to work, but only 4 hours a day. Saturday and Sunday are days off, and then you always have to put time for your vacation days. Enjoy your retirement.
Thank you, John. Is there anyone else that's on board of our invited guests that I've missed that we had invited, but I forgot to acknowledge? If not, I have, before I go to our present board, I do have something to read all the way from Manchester, New Hampshire, from Herb Pence. Dear Mark, when you joined me at the Manchester Transit Authority as Director of Operations, I had no expectation of writing you a letter upon the occasion of your retirement. Life is a way of surprising all of us. About 40 years have passed since you appeared at my office door, wide-eyed and eager to take on your new assignment with ATE Management Service Company. We spent too little time together before the Manchester Transit Authority management contract was not renewed. In the fall of 1981, you went your way and I was reassigned to Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. Subsequently, our paths crossed at company meetings, conventions, and on random occasions. From a distance, I always cheered you on. Do not forget, upon my return from Saudi Arabia, the Donaghy father and son duo intersected with my life at ATEM&S Company. I followed your father as general manager of the Worcester Area Transit Company. Being from Cincinnati, Dayton's transit system appealed to me with its taut overhead and quiet running trolley buses. I suppose your system would be one of my favorite targets for a managership. From my perspective, you have performed an admirable job in the Greater Dayton Regional Transit Authority's leadership. The time has come for you to metaphorically pull your poles. You should do so knowing that you gave your best to serve your passengers, the men and women who worked for you, and the taxpayers who funded all the operations you managed. Please do not forget the varied systems under your purview as a senior manager of systems at ATEM&S Company. It is time for you and Dora to put your feet up and enjoy retirement. It is well deserved. Sincerely, Herb Pence. All right. I want to include, before we make a presentation, comments from our present board members. And I'll go right down the list and begin with our Vice President, John Lumpkin.
Well, thank you. I hope I'm
Looks like I'm glitching a little bit. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Well, Mark, I just want to say thank you for your service to this community, to Dayton and the surrounding region. I have learned a great deal from you. You know, as far as it comes to transportation and what a big role the RTA plays in our community. You have met some of the challenges with grace and professionalism that I don't know if I would be able to maintain my level of calm in some of the things that you have done. So you should be applauded for those things. Everything that you have done for this this transit authority and this region, I applaud you for it. I thank you again for your service. I wish you the best in your retirement. I will forever hold the grudge that you are walking out the door without my streetcars, but that
I knew it was coming.
yeah. But hey, I have truly enjoyed working with you, and much respect and well-deserved retirement. I wish you all the best.
Thank you, John. Vince Corrado.
Yeah, I got a couple of comments, Mark. I remember the first time I came down and you walked me through everything we did at the RTA. We spent a lot of time over at the bus garage, and that really helped me get involved with what was going on. But a couple of things. I, like everybody else, appreciate your leadership, not only with RTA, but in the community, and how you've involved yourself in the community and made RTA better through that. I said, one of the best things I admire about you, and I could never do this, and this is a little bit about what John said, you have such a great ability to listen and respond to the problems of our clients, and not take it personally. And so I admire you for that. And finally, speaking from experience about being retired, I think the best is yet to come. And what I would tell you is I would like you to give me a call someday when you finally can't figure out what day of the week it is. So when you can't figure out what day of the week it is, or you've got to look at your watch or your computer, you'll know that you finally reached retirement. So please give me a call then. Anyway, thanks for your service and everything you've done. We're going to miss you.
Thank you, Vince. Former board president, Adrian Hurd.
Well, I'm sure this is not truly a goodbye to Mark. He is retiring, but that's going to give him more time to serve on national transportation boards because they would benefit from your wealth of information. They would benefit from the national respect that you bring anytime you enter a room that has anything to do with transportation. And your heart's not going to let you go away. So I expect to still hear about you, and I'm saying, yeah, he was ours.
Thank you, Adrian. Former board president, Sharon Harrison.
Well, I came down here in person today to make sure you leave. Just kidding, just kidding. You know, Mark, I have a lot of respect for you. I think you've done a wonderful job for RTA. But I did want to come down here and personally say best wishes. I hope things go wonderful for you. And Dora, I just want to give you my sympathy. Now you're going to have me 24/7. I hope that he joins other boards. We'll make sure he does. Best wishes, Mark.
Thank you, Sharon. Excuse me, Sharon Howard.
Yes, thank you for the opportunity, Dave, to share just a few words with Mark. I remember when the Montgomery County Commissioners trusted me to represent them on this board. And from the first time I was appointed, Mark scooped me up in his car and he took me on a tour and he took me over to Longworth and was sharing every piece of information he could ever do. And that was all done in a spirit of making sure that I was comfortable, prepared, and certainly was introduced to key transit stakeholders. So I remember that vividly. But my fondest memory has to be something that COVID took away from me, and that is in-person meetings. Because as many of you know, my seat is right next to Mark. And underneath that desk, which many people never saw, was me grabbing his arm or his knee to say, sit and be still. I kept him out of a lot of trouble sitting next to him. So I don't know if I have to do the same thing with Bob, but that might be a little interesting. But the last thing I will say is this, and Vince touched on it. I know that Mark is highly knowledgeable as it relates to transit. He knows it inside and out. But the thing that I admire and respect about him the most is his willingness to partner and bring others to the party. I can't imagine, I can't even tell you how many times I've called Mark and say, I think this community group needs our help. And he always did that. I appreciate them thinking outside the box to be able to involve themselves into things that impacted the community that really didn't have anything to do with transit, but RTA had a voice. So I just want to thank him for that. Thank him for inviting other people to the party who would normally be overlooked or discounted. And for that, I will always appreciate him for that.
Thank you, Sharon. Tom Weckerser.
Yeah, and I can attest to Sharon's comment about grabbing Mark's arm. I think I was considering maybe our next board member needed to be a doctor to administer stitches sometimes when her nails would dig in. But I'll keep this short. It just, in the 4.5 to 5 years, I think I've got to know Mark. I've learned that he is a person of innovation, of integrity, of passion, and of compassion. So thank you for all you've done for RTA, the community, and beyond. It's been a pleasure working with you.
Thank you, Tom. Our newest board member actually has had a relationship with Mark, so we're going to invite Al Fullenkamp to say some words.
Thank you, Dave. Yeah, what I want to say is, being on the board for 2 weeks now, I'm not even sure where the restrooms are, much less any comments. But I did work with Mark and really his professional staff, and that means you, Frank, that, for 8 years before I retired. And I must say that it was very nice to work with a professional staff. That doesn't always happen. And but we just always had, if we had problems, we were always able to work them out, and we really didn't have to worry about it. So I want to say, Mark, enjoy retirement. It's filled with 1 Sunday and 6 Saturdays.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Al. Before I make my comments, I want to let everybody know I've just received a text from His Holiness Pope Francis. Both Dora Donaghy and Kathy Garner have been approved for sainthood.
Amen.
When I contemplated my 10-year relationship with Mark, my thoughts went back to that day that Mark was starting to tell the story before this meeting began. Back in 2013, when the board and staff were meeting in this very room and we're in the middle of a monthly joint committee working session, when Mark suddenly acted as if he just won the Super Bowl. We all looked at him quizzically, and he explained that he had just received notice on his iPad of the FHWA that they had issued their letter of non-compliance with Title VI of the Civil Rights Act to the city of Beaver Creek. This was the first time in history that the Federal Highway Administration had made such a determination. Later, when the first bus rolled out early morning on a cold January Sunday, headed to the green, it was Mark behind the wheel with a smile that went ear to ear. However, it was later, when he was being interviewed for the documentary Free to Ride, that he choked up just recounting the memories of that effort and of that morning. It was then that I realized what set Mark Donaghy apart. He really does care. He really is passionate about this organization and its mission. He leads with his heart. Oh, Mark is a super smart person, don't get me wrong, but direction without heart is just management. True leaders like Mark care about their mission and about their people. Mark's leadership was probably best summed up by the only true passenger on the bus that January morning, just some guy going to work at the green who had just saved a 1.1 mile walk across the I-675 bridge. He said it was great to see positive folks doing positive things. Mark, thanks from all of us on the screen, all of us here, for all the positive things you've done, not just for the organization, but for each one of us. I'll ask everybody to give a well-deserved round of applause to Mark Donaghy. On those 6 Saturdays when you're sitting around looking for something to do, here's a little something to wet your whistle. Oh. And you can start. Hand on that there. Go ahead. There you go.
Oh. I think he said it was mine. Oh my God. Oh,
nice.
It will go to a good cause.
I understand. And I guess this is addressed to you, but it's for the two of you, you and Dora. Those are a couple of gift cards for some Northern Kentucky finest establishments for dinner.
Oh.
Yeah, not Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Well, I like that.
Step up from there. So again, on behalf of the board, thanks and best wishes for your retirement, both of you. So
thank you enough.
Okay, now you get to say something.
Well, I would like to run a little PowerPoint if Brandon can help me here. All right, fired up, Junior. Okay. Well, I feel like I'm on the Oscars today with all these famous people. Thank you, Brandon. Always picking me up out here. And I absolutely, it's been a privilege, and I'm going to be careful not to name names because there are so many, and I don't want to get in the way, but there is one person give me a sec, who's been here. I thought I was going to get through this. Okay. The entire 45 years, only one. This young lady right here. It's funny that Dave read a letter from Manchester, New Hampshire, because that picture was taken in 1980 at the New England Public Transit Association meeting. And you can see she's smiling, but that was before she found out we weren't having lobster. Because there was a transit association dinner, not much else. But so she's been there for every single bit of it. Now, a few of you, if you're old enough, remember when people like us used to do what were called bus rodeos. Bus rodeos are really challenging. They take months of preparation. And then on a Saturday, it takes about 8 hours to set them up. And if you do them like we did in Northern Kentucky, we had to do them at the airport. You need a very big facility. And then on a Sunday, you spend about 12 hours, you know, doing these bus rodeos and watching the competition, help doing the judging. In her case, she used to do the scoring many, many times. She worked countless. First one in 1981, I remember that. And then when the kids got older, we made the kids work them, of course, as well. But it was a huge effort and it was a lot of work. And then I ran into this picture, which I just had to put up here for everybody to see. So at the end of the 12 hours, then you got to go to a banquet. You got to go to a rodeo banquet for a few more hours and listen to me and others speak up front. And you know what that look is? That look is to my daughter, this is important to your father and you're going to have a good time. At least act like it. So I don't know if Ryan's listening today, but she would be really mad if she knew I ran that picture. But there were lots of other events. Some were fancier, even though these still had styrofoam cups. Like this, I believe, was an event still down in Northern Kentucky. The woman with the red hair, founding board member of the Transit Authority of Northern Kentucky, leader in the Communication Workers of America Union, and an accomplished pilot starting in the 1940s. Nellie McCarty, great person. But there were also high-end events where you got dessert, right? You know, you occasionally got something that you liked, you got dessert. Or an event like this, which was, we were raising money for senior services in Northern Kentucky when I was the board chair. And Joe Nuxall and Betty White came to help us raise money. Interesting note, Joe Nuxall had a cancer treatment that morning and still came. And that night, I got kissed by two beautiful women. There you go. But you know, it hadn't all been bad. This is 2006. At her first event here, I think, that I asked her to go to, which was the safety banquet at the hall, the Shriners Hall down the street here. It was a hot night. The air conditioning wasn't working, but there was one positive. She got to sit with Grafton and Bernice Payne, who became our good friends. And that was a lasting relationship for all of us. So that was the highlight of that evening. This picture I'm just showing because I love it. This picture is taken in Gourmet, Turkey, when we were visiting our daughter back about 6 years ago. So maybe you've been my rock. Countless 10, 12-hour days, not to mention overnights, 2 a.m. phone calls, and sometimes calls out to leave and go do something. 6-day weeks, 7-day weeks sometimes. We rarely had vacations, especially when we were young. Business trips that always seemed to occur on our anniversary or her birthday. We moved, and then we moved again and again and again. She moved 6 times, 6 different cities with me she's lived in. And every time we packed up and we went. We had a 2-way radio in our living room where I used to fall asleep at nights and she would wake me up, tell me, come on, go get some sleep before you get up in the morning. Until the one morning when I woke up on the couch and I'm like, what the heck? And apparently when she tried to wake me up, I started telling her something about get in that bus and get moving. And she had had enough of that. So it wasn't happening again. She attended every single event I've ever asked her to. And I've been trying to be careful, especially in the later years, how many we did. All those bus rodeos, charity functions, picnics, you name it, she was there. We worked a few houses. Jim Napier led our group for Rebuilding Together Dayton. She worked on a number of houses here in Dayton. This woman sacrificed everything for our children, my career, including her own career. And she stuck with me from the very beginning. She was with me the first day I went to training to drive a bus, and she's here today. So more than any one person, she is the reason for my success. I love you, babe. Isn't that a great picture? We were shopping. We were really happy at the bazaar. So this is my final report to the board. So I need to talk about RTA. As I have said, it has been a privilege to be a part of this team. I mean that, a part of a team. In order to avoid leaving anyone out, I'm going to avoid naming names, but suffice it to say I have worked with some of the best employees and board members of my career here, and they deserve most of the credit for our collective success. I do believe I'm leaving RTA better than I found it 15 years ago. We have great physical assets, a very young fleet, and are financially sound. And we have some of the most talented people in the industry. We have accomplished some incredible projects, added new services, and are more responsive to the community in delivering what it needs. But quite frankly, much remains to be done. Today, fixed route service remains nearly 30% below 2005 levels. Travel patterns continue to change. Weather and health anomalies have become the new normal. This is not the time to rest. And okay just cannot be good enough. I predict the next 5 years are RTA's most critical in terms of determining its future. So please be bold. Fight to implement the system redesign. Consider what should come after that. How about connectivity for the entire Miami Valley region? How about intercity connections throughout Ohio? More alternative forms of transportation to build the network. Leverage technology. I did say that. Everybody knows I'm not really a techie. And make every decision from the customer's perspective. Build on the positive relationships with our unions, engaging employees as partners in planning and development. Stay connected throughout the community and be responsive to our stakeholders' needs. Yes, that means more trippers. Finish the fight at the green. Invest in more amenities for our customers to improve safety and comfort at bus stops. Improve your listening skills. Never lose sight of our mission, mobility for every person. So my time has come. It has been a great run, but RTA is so much bigger than one person. To me, this is what makes RTA great. The call center staff taking extra time with a new customer. The transit ambassador assisting someone to their bus. The group of mechanics huddled around an engine dedicated to identifying what causes a premature failure. A young woman hustling to get to her job at the mall. Our dispatch team who anticipates challenges and provides support for every aberration of the constantly changing day. The scheduler who listens to bus operators when developing a timetable. The HR employee who truly cares about assisting fellow employees in need. The alternative services team who ensure equitable treatment of customers with special needs and finding the right service application for every citizen in our region. Our service lane crew, proud to ensure that every bus sparkles for tomorrow's pullout. The operator who buys a cold child a coat. The senior citizen waiting for their trip to dialysis. The training and safety team that provides each of us an opportunity to succeed in our roles. The IT gurus who keep massive amounts of software running so the rest of us can function. The procurement and inventory folks who make sure we have the best buses, parts, and supplies when we need them. The custodian who must transfer twice to get to their job every single day. Our line crew who on a cold February night are out there putting wire back up where it belongs. Our engineers who design infrastructure that improves service quality and will last for the next generation. And our admins, like the greatest one, who make our documents look great, get us to meetings on time, and run interference for us. People like me need that a lot. The buildings and grounds crew who keep the quality of our work environment clean and desirable. The communications employees who connect with customers, create user-friendly materials to keep us all informed. The finance team that keeping us and the bills paid, as well as RTA solvent. Yes, even the supervisors, managers, directors, and chiefs who support every operational need on both campuses so that the customer is served. Having the honor of being out in front of this team has been a tremendous opportunity and burden, and I've given it my all. But as you can see, RTA is the collective us, more than buses, buildings, and equipment. It is truly our people. And I have great confidence in RTA's future because of the team we have in place. For my colleagues, present and past, please know that I love each and every one of you. Okay, not Glenn Salyer. And I wish each of you the best of health and happiness for many years to come. So with that, I will thank you once more. And before I forget, it's on you now, so don't fuck it up. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I will now say to all of our invited guests who are free to continue to join us for the remainder of our meeting, where we'll be talking about really interesting things like overhead copper wire and aluminum rim wheels for buses. But if you choose to do so now, please do not hesitate to drop off the call. And thank you on behalf of the Board of Trustees and on Mark and Dora's behalf for joining us this afternoon. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And now, with that said, going back to the agenda and moving on to committee reports, Belinda Matthews Stenson could not be here today, and so I will present the report from the Finance and Personnel Committees. The Finance, Personnel, and Planning Committees held a teleconference meeting on February 16th, and as a result, they are recommending 3 action items for the board's consideration. All items are essential to the delivery of transportation services to the public. Action item number 2, janitorial services. The purpose of this procurement is to obtain the most qualified contractor to handle the janitorial duties at the Right Stop Plaza and the 4 transit centers. In addition to the day-to-day cleaning and disinfecting responsibilities, these duties include pressure washing, scrubbing, and cleaning exterior areas as needed to present a neat and clean appearance for the Greater Dayton RTA. This project is consistent with our core values of safety and stewardship. It is our responsibility to maintain a safe environment for all of our customers, staff, and vendors. During these times of COVID-19, the importance of disinfecting all surfaces and maintaining a safe and clean environment are a top priority. Mr. Darren Brown provided a detailed explanation at the committee meeting, and the supporting information is included in today's board package. Darren is available to answer any questions the board may have. Hearing no questions and based upon the recommendation of the Finance Personnel Committee, I move that the Board of Trustees approve a contract award to Blue Chip Facility Services for janitorial services for 5 base years and 2 option years. Year 1, $467,511, same amount for year 2. Year 3, $479,499. Year 4, $491,794. Year 5, $504,404, for a total of $2,410,719. And option year 1 at $504,404, and option year 2 for $520,318, totaling $1,024,722, plus a 20% contingency of $687,088 to cover any potential COVID supplies and or services and price increases to supplies, for a grand total of $4,122,529. This procurement will be funded from operating funds. So moved by myself. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Lumpkin. That motion has been made and seconded. Is there any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, I will ask the secretary to call the roll.
Mr. Williamson?
Yes.
Mr. Lumpkin?
Yes.
Mr. Corrado?
Yes.
Mr. Fullenkamp?
Yes.
Ms. Hairston?
Yes.
Ms. Hurd?
I abstain.
Ms. Howard?
Yes.
Mr. Weckeser?
Yes.
We have 7 yeses and 1 abstention.
The motion carries. Action item number 2 is approved. Action item number 3, resolution number 2021-3-1, Ohio Department of Transportation grant application. ODOT provides financial assistance to public transportation systems in Ohio through the Ohio Urban Public Transportation Grant Program. Current funding opportunities are offered under the Urban Formula Program and the Preservation Partnership Program. RTA intends to use state-awarded funds for preventive maintenance or other capital projects based on budget need. Because of the state fiscal year, July 1 through June 30, eligible projects can be selected from either the RTA's 2021 or 2022 list of eligible projects. Historically, RTA has applied under the Urban Transit Program, as well as the Ohio Transit Preservation Partnership Program. In addition, we have applied for funding under some Ohio EPA programs, which are open to Ohio public transit systems. Other funding opportunities may arise and will be considered for application based on program requirements and current need. Bob Brzezinski presented the action item at the committee meeting, and all details are included in today's board package. Bob is available to answer any questions the board may have at this time. Hearing none, and based upon the recommendation of the Finance Personnel Committee, I move that the Board of Trustees approve resolution number 2021-3-1, authorizing the filing of various applications for eligible projects under State of Ohio public transportation grant programs for state fiscal years 2021 and 2022. So moved by me. Do I have a second?
This is Adrienne. I will second it.
Second by Ms. Hurd. Are there any more discussion or questions? Hearing none, I'll ask the secretary to call the roll.
Mr. Williamson,
Yes.
Mr. Lumpkin,
Yes.
Mr. Corrado,
Yes.
Mr. Follenkamp,
Yes.
Ms. Hairston,
Yes.
Ms. Hurd,
Yes.
Ms. Howard,
Yes.
and Mr. Weckesser.
Yes.
We have 8 yeses.
Thank you. Motion having been made, properly seconded, the roll having been called, action item number 4 is, the motion carries and action item number 4 is approved. That was action item number 3 is approved. Now action item number 4. Resolution number 2021-3-2, the FTA grant applications. This resolution gives staff authorization to file fiscal year 2021 United States Code 5307, 5337, 5339, 5310, and other federal capital assistance grants. The projects applied for will be consistent with RTA approved capital and operating budgets. Prior year funding levels for programs were $14.01 million for 5307 grants, $12.54 million for 5337 grants, $1.34 million for 5339 grants, and $0.76 million for 5310 grants. While federal fiscal year 2021 amounts have not yet been announced, we expect them to be similar to the prior year. All projects will be from RTA approved fiscal year 2021 capital and operating budgets. Mr. Brzezinski presented the action item at the committee meeting, and the details are included in today's board package. Bob is available to answer any questions the board may have at this time. Hearing none, and based upon the recommendation of the Finance Personnel Committee, I move that the Board of Trustees approve resolution number 2021-3-2, authorizing the filing of 49 USC sections 5307, 5337, 5339, 5310, and other federal capital grant applications for the RTA for fiscal year 2021 with the Federal Transit Administration. Furthermore, the Chief Executive Officer is authorized to provide all necessary documents, execute grant contracts, amend the grant contracts if deemed necessary, and fulfill all other requirements of the applications. I have made the motion. Do I have a second?
Sharon Hairston, I second.
Motion made by myself, seconded by Ms. Hairston. Are there any more questions or discussion? Hearing none, I'll ask the secretary to call the roll.
Yes, sir. Mr. Williamson,
Yes.
Mr. Lumpkin,
Yes.
Mr. Corrado,
Yes.
Mr. Follenkamp,
Yes.
Ms. Hairston,
Yes.
Ms. Hurd,
Yes.
Ms. Howard, Ms. Howard,
Yes.
thank you, and Mr. Weckeser.
Yes.
We have 8 in agreement.
Thank you. The motion having been made and properly seconded and presented to the board for approval, the motion carries and action item number 4 is approved. The Finance Personnel Committee has no additional action items, but Ms. Matthew Stinson does have some additional items to mention. And at the meeting, Mr. Rosinski presented the financial update. January 2021 indicates a gain after the local capital charge. Total expenses are $800,000 lower than budget. All expense categories, including contract services, fuels and lubricants, and materials and supplies, are lower than budget, which has been the trend since COVID. Sales tax received for November 2020 was up $20,163 from last year, and year-to-date through November 2020 was up $1 million or 2.82%. The local economy appears to remain steady, and that concludes the report of the Finance Personnel Committee. And following the agenda, we'll move on to the Planning Committee and Ms. Howard.
Thank you, and good afternoon, everyone. The Finance, Personnel, and Planning Committees met for a jointly held meeting on February 16th, and as a result, the committee is recommending one action item for the board's consideration. Action item number 5, TAP pay terms and conditions. Mr. Policicchio explained that the purpose of this action is to adopt the rules in the form of terms and conditions for prepaid accounts associated with the launch of RTA's new fair payment system, TAP Pay. Ohio law does not necessarily require board approval for all rules implemented to regulate and enforce the collection of fares. However, it is appropriate that the board approve the TAP Pay terms and conditions because the shift to no more cashless payments is transformational in terms of how RTA collects fares. RTA also wants to ensure the public is aware of the terms and conditions, including where these can be found, and that the board has approved the rules that will govern the new cashless payment system. Mr. Policicchio provided a detailed presentation at our committee meeting, and the supporting information is included in today's board package. Brandon is available to answer any questions you may have. Hearing none and based upon the recommendation of the Planning Committee, I move to adopt the terms and conditions of prepaid accounts associated with the launch of RTA's new fair payment system, TAP Pay.
I'll second that.
Motion made by Ms. Howard, seconded by Mr. Weckeser. Are there any more questions or discussion? Hearing none, I'll ask the secretary to call the roll.
Mr. Williamson,
Yes.
Mr. Lumpkin,
Yes.
Mr. Corrado,
Yes.
Mr. Fulenkamp,
Yes.
Ms. Hairston,
Yes.
Ms. Hurd,
Yes.
Ms. Howard,
Yes.
and Mr. Weckeser.
Yes.
We have 8 yeses.
Motion having been properly made and seconded and presented to the board for vote. The motion carries and action item number 5 is approved.
We do have a few discussion items just to bring everyone up to date on. At the committee meeting, Mr. Policicchio also provided a summary document of recent activities in the Customer and Business Development Department. He shared that on February 1st, RTA customers were offered a more cost-friendly payment experience with the introduction of fare capping via TAP Pay, RTA's mobile ticketing app. As a result, hundreds of customers are now experiencing the benefits and savings of fare capping with TAP Pay. This concludes my report, Mr. President, and I would be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Ms. Howard. Appreciate it. Mr. Donaghy, you already gave a very detailed and thorough report. Is there anything further to add at this time?
Well, I did have a 90-minute presentation because I know Sharon Howard likes those. On trailing frogs, and voltage losses in trolley wire, but I'm going to pass on that since we're going a little long. But I would like to ask Bob to report on a COVID-related issue, if that's okay.
Thank you.
Yep, we are announcing first thing tomorrow morning, or I guess now, if there's anybody left on the call besides the board, that we are going to start offering free, no charge fares, which free and no charge is the same thing, but to vaccine appointments. We do not want transportation to be a barrier for anybody getting a vaccine. So that will be on fixed route and Connect services. So we will be, of course, working out details. Along with that, we are working on some funding plans to help reimburse for that. If we're successful, great. If not, we're going to do it anyway because it's the right thing to do. We will be also doing a media campaign associated with that. So you may see some TV, radio, and print advertising. It will all be within our current approved budget, with the focus being similar to our past campaigns on COVID prevention with our bus billboards and stuff. So watch for that. And then I would personally like to thank Mark for everything he's done for the agency. A man of great respect in my mind. I will never be able to fill his shoes, but I will do my darndest to do so. And I do invite all the board members, except for Ms. Howard, back to a board meeting sometime soon. Once I get a wall constructed, Sharon, I will let you know when you're allowed back in. Until then, Zoom works great.
It's really for your own good. I'm trying to help.
Thank you.
We will have Deborah Howard looking at procuring some shin pads for future board meetings. All right. Is there any old business to come before the board? Hearing none, I'll move to new business, and I do have a new business item number 1, evaluation of a public employee. The Board of Trustees of the Greater Dayton Regional Transit Authority has conducted a performance evaluation of Mr. Mark Donaghy, Chief Executive Officer. For 2020, Mr. Donaghy performed beyond expectations and demonstrated extraordinary leadership during what may have been the most difficult year in the history of the GDRTA. The GDRTA maintains service and employment levels while still pursuing and achieving strategic goals and objectives due to Mark's efforts and his leadership of others. Consequently, the RTA Board of Trustees recommends a one-time performance bonus to Mr. Donaghy of $30,000. I would move that the Board of Trustees approve the recommended performance bonus. Do I have a second?
This is Adrian, I'll second.
I think Sharon Hairston beat you to it, Adrian. It must be some kind of delay in the transmission. So motion by Mr. Williamson, second by Ms. Hairston. Would the secretary call the roll?
Yes, sir. Mr. Williamson.
Yes.
Mr. Lumpkin.
Yes.
Mr. Corrado.
Yes.
Mr. Follenkamp.
Yes.
Ms. Hairston.
Yes.
Ms. Hurd.
Yes.
Ms. Howard.
Yes.
And Mr. Weckesser.
Yes.
We have 8 yeses.
And let the record reflect the unanimous approval of the recommendation. Recommendation passes, and I'll direct Mr. Osinski to act accordingly. Okay. We did have one public comment, but she must have given up and left.
Yes, she did.
Okay. So
She's a very regular. I'll see her.
we'll see her
probably
again.
in the next
Yeah,
couple of
yeah,
days.
we've seen her before, and so we'll invite her back. I will just collectively to the entire board, you've already made your comments about Mark, but is there any comment from any board member for the good of the order? Hearing none, I will then move on, which is everybody's favorite part of the agenda, and that is the adjournment. And I will exercise the chair's prerogative to declare, before I do, to remind everyone of future board meeting dates: April 6th, May 4, June 1, and committee meetings. Next one is March 23rd. And then the rest of the dates are on the bottom of your agenda for committee. So until our next committee meetings, everyone please be safe and take care. This meeting is adjourned.